Wolfram is a chemical element, it's a metal, and it has some special properties. And one is that it has the highest melting points of all metals. The other one is that's a very high density. It's not the highest, but it's similar to gold. And when you combine it with carbon, you can form a component called tungsten carbide. And this is very hard, similar to diamond, so it's diamond-like hardness. And you can make tools out of it to use this hardness.
We have 350 products, they're all grey. It's tungsten metal and tungsten carbide powders. We start from a quarter of a hair as a diameter. These are coarsest powders. You need for applications like mining and construction, very tough applications. But we also have the extreme, very fine powders, and they are used for wear parts or for PCB drills applications on electronics. On one hand, the powder comes from our own mine in Mittersill in Salzburg and from all over the world. On the other hand, to more than 50% today from recycling.
We start with primary and secondary raw material. Primary raw material means ore concentrates, and secondary raw material means scrap. So the primary raw material is the ore. You have to concentrate it because the concentration is very low. It's in the range of or below 0.5% usually, and that's why we call it ore concentrates. And this consists usually of scheelite ore or wolframite ore. Scheelite is a calcium tungstate, wolframite is a iron manganese tungstate. And the secondary raw material, most of it, what we treat here is hard metal or cemented carbide. A very nice thing on scraps is that it's well defined. You have a very high tungsten content and you have just some other elements which are easy to handle in the process.
We have two parts of our production lines. First of all, there is a chemical blend, and then there are thermal processes to make the tungsten carbide powder and the tungsten powder in a metallic form.
We dissolve the tungsten, then we do a chemical step where we clean everything up. We produce a salt called APT, ammonium paratungstate. That's our super pure intermediate product. And from this we go via oxide to the metal powder, and in the end we can make the tungsten carbide powder.
For us, sustainable production means recycling all media, such as water and ammonia, and reusing excess heat from the thermal processes. For byproducts, the aim is to recycle all the valuable content wherever possible.
We have a circular supply chain. So we produce a tungsten carbide powder that goes to our customers. This is the first use. They produce tools like the drills, inserts, and sell it to the end customer. And then we have collection programs all over the world with our customers together to collect back the scrap from their customers. And this goes back into our process and completes the circular supply chain. If you compare the tungsten content in an ore with a tungsten content in an insert, this is a difference of 250 times in concentration. And this is why we do recycling.